Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reviewing Shiina Ringo's newest album, San Doku Shi. Before we get started, I want to remind you that this is simply my opinion on the album, and if you enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Shiina Ringo is a pretty famous singer and songwriter in Japan, and it took me a while to get into her music, especially because she has such a wide discography that it is a bit intimidating. But I've been slowly giving her a try, and honestly, what better occasion to really immerse myself in her music than with this new album called San Doku Shi. So San Doku Shi came out on the 27th of May this year, and I've been honestly obsessed with this album. It surprised me in the best way possible, and I'm gonna try to talk about how this album made me feel. But one thing is for sure, she did not come to play with this one. Alright, so where do I start? I guess let's first talk about the music styles on this album. You know, since it is my first time experiencing a Shiina album as it comes out, I was really surprised by how diverse the album is. It goes from a bit of electronic to jazz music to rock music, all of this without ever breaking the flow of the album, and I really ended up loving the boldness of this, because you wouldn't think it would work, but the more I listened to the album, the more I was sold on it. And if it was a bit overwhelming during my first listen, I really ended up wanting to go back to this album non-stop, to the point of actually waking up in the morning with the songs stuck in my head, and this is a very rare thing for me to happen, but it really tells you how this album really had an impact on me immediately. Another thing that impressed me is how fluent Shiina Ringo is. Like, from the few songs I heard from her before, I actually knew that, but on this album she goes from Japanese to English to French so fluently each time. It's genuinely impressive. Like, I can tell you as a French person myself, her French is impeccable, and she sounds almost like a native at times, which was for me a little bit like a cherry on top and a very delightful bonus. Now, a thing that I found a bit jarring on the album at first are the featurings. We have 6 featurings on this album, and so in order we have Miyamoto Hiroji, Sakurai Atsushi, Mukai Shutoku, Ukigumo, Izuki Mayasuki, and Toyoto's Matsumoto. And that is a lot on an album, especially with this one that comes with 13 songs. And at first I wasn't huge on all of these featurings, but the more I listened to the album, the more I ended up warming up to actually loving each a lot, because Shiina has a way to pick a person for a song that she composed and really bring their talent, charisma, and own flavor to the songs, and that's why they work so well. Honestly, I think after I've listened to it like 3 times, I was like, okay, this is actually genius, and I love these a lot. And ever since, I've listened to the album a lot in 2 weeks, and let me tell you, you get used to it very rapidly, and I wouldn't see this album without them. Another thing that did bother me at first was that on some songs, such as Nagaku Michikai Matsuri or the opening song Niwatori to Ebi to Buta, she does use a vocoder on her voice to give it more of a robotic vibe. And you know, I'm not used to her music, I don't know, I cannot recall if she has done it before, but I wouldn't be surprised if she has. But for me, that was really the first time experiencing this change in her voice, you know, this effect on her voice, and I wasn't completely sold on it. But again, after listening to it more and more, I got used to it, and actually these songs ended up being my favorites from this album. Lyrics wise, I'm going to be honest, outside of the English and French lyrics, I don't really understand Japanese that well to really understand the songs, and unfortunately there are no translations available. But I do love the theme that the album goes for. It's a very spiritual approach, and you can really feel it through the melodies, like especially on the opening and closing songs of the album, so Niwatori Toebi Tobuta and Anoyo no Mon. I really like the intensity both have, and obviously being the opening and closing statement of the album, it really allows it to feel very neat and well thought. Overall, I had an absolute blast listening to this album, which really I consider to be my proper introduction to our musical universe. And being able to listen to this one with fresh ears, where I cannot compare it to a previous work, it really allowed me to enjoy every second of it, and I've really fell in love with this one from start to finish, and that's why I'm giving it 5 stars. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to tell me what you think of San Doku Shi down below, and I'll see you next time.